Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. Just saw a new film, Monday Mystery Movie at the good old Cinemark. It was titled Sing Sing. It was an A24 film. A24 is really coming on strong, or they have been strong for a while now, as this, mainstream independent film distribution or production company. And I thought this was a really great movie. Now you might be wondering, well, gee whiz, Mike, what's it about? Is it singing along? No, it's about, it's a movie, it's a play within a prison, which is the movie, or a prison movie, which the inmates are running their own theater company. Now, for you old school folks out there, this might sound a tinge familiar. There was a movie called Weeds many years ago. Nick Nolte, among many other great actors, were in a movie called Weeds, which I wouldn't call it, I would not call it lost media, but it's hard to find it on streaming, or it's hard to find it on other ways to find this movie Weeds from, I think, 1987, which had a similar type of story, but a much different execution, as it were. So this movie, pretty impressive. We start off, should you see it, should you not? I think you should see it, if nothing else, to enjoy your own freedoms. And I thought this movie was pretty damn good. So we start off in a theater environment, a theater situation. We see an actor, I believe he's performing, is it the Midsummer's Night's Dream? Hold on a minute. Hold on a second. There's some activity going on here. Just hold on. Some activity. Just gotta get away from the activity. Let me just find another resting place for my little station here. Of course, some asshole has to be on my asshole the whole time. Oh, God. Everyone's such a pain in the ass. So, anyway, so we start, and they're doing Midsummer, I guess the Shakespeare show. Then we kind of have this reveal that, oh my God, we weren't just watching some great Shakespearean performance. These actors are backstage. They're taking off their costumes. If you've ever been in a stage play or have been backstage, oftentimes you'll have these tables where the actors are supposed to put their props into these pre-marked spots. That way, you don't lose the props or the costumes between performances. Then we see that these fine gentlemen are all standing in line and being kind of checked out by a security officer, which means we're basically in a prison. That's the big reveal. We quickly meet our main guy here, and I could be wrong, but I think this guy might have been in real life who the character's based upon. Like I said, this was very raw. I didn't go into this movie even knowing what movie I'm going to see. If you're not experienced with this phenomena, it's this Monday movie mystery. $5, Cinemarks, AMC, and Regal are all doing it in this vicinity, which is you pay $5 and you don't know what movie you're going to see. It's a big surprise. So now we realize all these fucking assholes tonight with their cars and their bullshit. So now we're in this situation. We're in this prison. The monotony of prison. Of course, there are no guilty people in prison. Wink, wink. But, everyone's got their problems, and we kind of meet our alpha male of the situation. He's kind of the self-appointed gentleman. He's written some novels while in prison. Other inmates are coming up to him for autographs. He's kind of known as like the guy to know, or the guy to be talking to. All these people, they just don't stop, do they? I mean, Christ. So, they're all coming up to him. They're all dealing with him. He's got a lot of OG respect, as they might say. And, he's part of this theater troupe. But then they've got to get a few more members. Him and Mike, which is an interesting character name. His kind of lieutenant, his buddy, is named Mike. He's another inmate. And they've got some applications or some interest to get some new members, and they try to get the new members. And of course, then we meet our kind of third main guy here, another inmate who, I think they call him like Crazy Eye or something. And basically, the whole movie, there's some tension with this character because obviously he's got some gang experience, shall we say. He's not the man to trifle with. He may or may not have a shank in his waistband at all time. And you don't mess around with this gentleman, okay? And we're kind of wondering the whole movie: is this guy going to shank one of our main guys, or is he going to get shanked? Shanked. It's what stabbing, okay, for you people that don't know these things like I do. So we go through this movie and we find all these wonderful experiences and revelations and all this stuff. And then you get the theater teacher, and he's a man of small stature, but seemingly a lot of experience. And we're going to put on a show, and should we do another Shakespeare, or maybe the main guy should write us a play or use one of his plays or whatever the fuck. But the new guy, the gangster guy, kind of suggests a comedy, and we start to see this kind of, butting of heads. I mean, there's so many characters. And I do like about this type of movie, and there was a good show on TV I used to like, Oz, O-Z, Oz. It really makes you not want to go to prison. I mean, if that's the good thing about watching a show like Oz or seeing this movie, Sing Sing or Weeds. But if you really want to get hardcore, you'll give yourself a dose of reality prison shows, like the first 24 hours or whatever the fuck, or Behind the World's Scariest Prisons. If you really want to get yourself some scared straight moments, you'll watch these shows, and then you'll never want to get into any type of argument with anybody, or you know what I mean. You'll keep a record of your daily events because you don't want people fucking with you. You want to prove where you are at all times. Our main guy seems to be the victim of a swerve because it does seem like he's innocent, at least the way this movie portrays him. And that there's even a confession by somebody else, but of course the person that recorded the confession has died. So, and there's so many emotions, folks. One of my greatest upsetnesses, and I have through my wonderful eBay store, The Foreign Object, I've donated money at times to the Innocence Project. There was a movie with Michael B. Jordan and I think Jamie Foxx several years ago about a guy that went to prison, wrongfully convicted. And it is one of my great angers, is it does seem a bit, dare we say racist, dare we say discriminatory, dare we say prejudicial. And once the system decides they want to put someone in jail, they don't seem as eager to get innocent people out of jail. Once you're kind of filed and once you're kind of numbered and labeled as an inmate, a prisoner, you're done. They don't give a flying fuck about you. They'll give you a serving of slop, and they'll make you quite literally in the South, at Alabama at times, pick the fields and do all this chain gang bullshit and all these things. So, this type of thing does upset me. Am I out in the streets with a goddamn sign? No. Am I hashtagging? But I am donating to the Innocence Project at times, so I'm down for the cause, whatever that means. But, it is upsetting. But that's the thing. I can be upset and go to this movie for 2 hours and get my little temperature boiled and do this little review. But, I'm not in prison for a crime I did not commit either. Or a crime I did commit in some regard. The crime of freedom of speech. Just watch what you say, Ice-T, 1993 Home Invasion album. So let's keep moving. So there's a lot of issues in this film. Loyalty, the frustration. Our main character is so frustrated because he can't, he's helping out everybody else to get out of prison with their cases, yet he remains, and you can feel that frustration. Then they're trying to put on a show, and they're having these obstacles in rehearsal because the gangster guy, he gets freaked out when people walk behind him on stage. There's really, maybe thankfully, there's no romance in this movie, But yeah, I liked the movie. I mean, I did. And we have a nice little way to fuck, like deep into the film, we have a nice little way of using actual footage from the actual people, I'm assuming, cinematically. Like, I liked it because a lot of movies you'll see, like, based on true events, and then the end credits, they'll show you, like, the photographs of the real people and the little script, or maybe some home video camera footage. This movie did that, but in a very artistic way, and then they put, like, the footage of the real people, and then they came back into our movie film for like 10 minutes, okay? And then we went and saw some more real footage. So I thought that was all very profound and interesting. But anyway, I mean, I liked it. I wonder if the fine filmmakers, RTA is what they kept saying, rehabilitation through the arts. So I guess it's actually RTTA if you want to be technical, or R2TA, but it's RTA. Let's not get shanked about it. I like the movie. Some of these actors, like the main guy, I think was he the guy who was really in prison for the crime he did not commit? If so, he did a fantastic job. A lot of the actors, I would think, were the people that were really in the situation, really in prison, really with the RTA, and then got out. So it was very inspiring. I mean, I'm sitting there watching this movie, and if you're like me, sometimes you watch a film and you reflect upon your own life, and what prison have I put myself in? Not literally, but just figuratively, metaphorically. What confinements do I put on myself? So it's interesting stuff. Like I said, this is one of those movies you watch it and you get all hyped up about, and then 5 minutes later, will you do anything about it? I don't know. But I enjoyed the film. Now, if you were going to pinpoint and henpeck the whole scenario, you might say, well, gee whiz, if some of these guys really committed actual crimes that killed people or ended people's lives, or unlived them, as the kids say, do we get any words from the victims' families? And the answer is no. So it is kind of one-sided in that, But I mean, it's not a fucking documentary about the whole prison system. It's about this particular scenario. And they don't really dig deep into a lot of prison movie or prison TV show cliches about, the great regrets or whatever. We've seen all that stuff before. I mean, it's kind of understood. And they don't spend a whole lot of time trying to prove that our main guy there is innocent. It does come up a few times, but more like the frustration that he doesn't even get the chance to prove that he's innocent through this tape recording. And that's why I said earlier, the Innocence Project and other things, you get so upset, you know what I mean? Because it does seem like, they put a lot of time in putting you into the clink and not a lot of time to get you out. So there used to be a YouTube channel that I would watch, the After Prison Show. It's still around on YouTube, but I think the guy kind of ran out of material, which I do respect that and I kind of wish that, Conrad Thompson over there on the 83 Weeks with Eric Bischoff and all those guys, I do kind of feel like, and this is, One Pro Wrestling and Sports Fan. One Pro Wrestling and Sports Fan is my other YouTube channel with my pro wrestling and sports takes. One artist, Mike Messier. You can see my wonderful artwork like this. I do have a Spreadshirt shop open now for stuff. See, I designed that little hat. But in regards to all this stuff, I do feel, it's good. Like when a podcaster, like the After Prison Show, they're kind of like, hey, we're out of material. Like we've told you all the prison, shower stories we have, or the how not to get shanked on your first day stories, or we've told you all these things. You know what I mean? The craziest things, the 10 craziest things I saw in prison. Like I watched all this guy's videos, and then eventually the guy runs out of material, and you're like, okay, what else do you have to say? Well, nothing. So then you stop making videos. So I do respect that. Other things, if I were, like the Eric Bischoff telling the same 10 stories on his podcast and stuff like that. After a while, you as the audience member just has to tune out and turn off. You know what I mean? That's why I'm doing these movie reviews. I'm putting more time into my Mike's Instant Movie Reviews, because there's always new movies coming out. I'm always seeing them. I'm always reviewing them for your pleasure. So One Artist, Mike Messier, One Pro Wrestling and Sports Fan, One Man in a Camera Films, And this is one Mike Messier. I give this one a nice 4.5.